Hey, how's it going everyone, and welcome to the channel. Now, today is going to continue my series of reviewing the sequel trilogy. I just reviewed The Last Jedi in my last video, so that of course means that today, I will be giving my thoughts, good and bad, about Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Real quick, before we get started, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. To those of you watching who have a different opinion about this, or any of the other movies that I've reviewed, just know that I am in no way trying to insult or belittle and suggest my opinion is the only way of thinking. I welcome any opposing viewpoints and love to hear them. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the movie and close this trilogy out. Enjoy. Okay, so, as always, we're going to be starting out with the good things in this movie. Thankfully, there are actually quite a bit of good things that this movie does, unlike the previous one. So let's go ahead and talk about my first positive in this movie. As always, my first positive is going to be Kylo Ren. Once again, he is the best thing about this movie. From the very beginning, Kylo was just awesome. That opening scene of him just demolishing all those people on his way to retrieve the Wayfinder was amazing. Then we get to follow him on his continued journey to the dark side, which once again I thought was concluded at the end of the last movie, but apparently not. Still, he journeys across the galaxy to attempt to bring Rey to the Emperor. It's a decently interesting chase, and he has a lot of cool moments throughout the film. One thing that I really enjoyed in this movie is that it finally demonstrated that Kylo was actually competent and powerful. He actually defeats Rey in a lightsaber fight, and honestly, it was with relative ease. Had Leia dying not distracted him, he would have been the clear victor. Then of course, we have Kylo finally giving in to the pull to the light and becoming Ben Solo again. This is a nitpick, but I think someone besides Han should have talked him into it. But that doesn't matter right now. It was good to see him become a good guy again and race off to save Rey. He also had a really cool fight against the people on Exegol. All in all, Kylo was good in this film, and Adam Driver once again continues to carry this trilogy. Okay, so now moving on to our second positive, and that is going to be seeing Lando again. It's always nice to see someone from the originals again, and I was happy to see Lando on screen. It was refreshing to see an original character show up and not be completely ruined or changed. Although he did give off some major creeper vibes at the end when he was talking to that girl, but maybe that was just me. My next positive is going to be hearing the voices of all the past Jedi. This was a really cool moment, and I love trying to pick out each individual voice. However, I do believe they missed an amazing opportunity to have the Force Ghosts actually standing behind Rey during that whole scene. But let's move on. My next positive is going to be my final one, but it isn't a specific character or moment. The final positive I find in this movie is that they attempt to try and right some of the wrongs of The Last Jedi. Now, a lot of this does fall short and doesn't turn out good, but I do appreciate the effort to spit in Rian Johnson's face. The best example of this is with Luke. Now, if you watched my last video, you know how much I despise The Last Jedi and its treatment of Luke. Now, I am in no way saying that the Luke we got in this movie was good. He wasn't. However, he was a lot better than he was in the previous movie. We actually got to see him inspire Rey to not give up. He also talked about how a lightsaber should be treated with more respect, and that what he said in the last movie was wrong. These were obvious shots at Rian Johnson, and I wholeheartedly enjoyed them. So yeah, it was nice to see at least an effort to try to fix the mistakes of the last movie. Alright, well that is going to be it for my positives of this movie, so let's go ahead and move on to the negatives. Okay, so here we are at the negatives of this movie. My first negative is once again going to be Finn. One thing this movie didn't attempt to fix was Finn's character, unfortunately. The previous movie made him a side character at best, and unfortunately that continues in this movie. He spends the entire movie running around just yelling Rey, instead of doing something that actually matters or is interesting. When he isn't doing that, he keeps trying to tell Rey something. What is this something, you ask? Well, I couldn't tell you because this movie decides it isn't important for us to know. It's just foolish and makes no sense to continuously mention this and yet give it no real payoff in the end. Oh well, I'm sorry for what they did to you, John Boyega, you deserved better. Now, it is hinted at him being Force sensitive, which makes sense, as this was pretty much set up in The Force Awakens. However, yet again, this movie deems it not important enough to explore whatsoever. Anyway, enough about Finn, so let's move on to the next negative, which is going to be the plot of this movie, and I'll go ahead and throw in the pace of this movie with it. This movie is jam-packed with way too much stuff for one movie, and you can definitely feel this throughout the movie. It has no real flow to the movie. It's just a dead sprint from start to finish, which doesn't give moments that are supposed to be meaningful enough time to actually mean anything. Like, oh my gosh, they killed Chewie. No, wait, there he is. He was just on another ship. Like, what was the point of doing something like that if you're going to reveal he's okay in the next scene? You have to let the movie breathe and allow the audience to breathe with it. So that's what I will say about the pace. Now to the plot. I'm sorry, but this movie's plot makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. The whole thing revolves around them trying to find their way to the Emperor on Exegol to take him out. However, in order to find him and get there, they need to find a Wayfinder. In order to find one, they have to venture to the planet that Lando's on in order to find a dagger. So, they spend a while on this planet searching, and eventually they find said dagger. Okay, what now? Oh, C-3PO can translate what's on the dagger. Oh wait, no he can't because this program forbids it for some reason. That sucks. Oh wait, we can just go to one of Poe's friends that can bypass C-3PO's programming. Oh dang, bypassing the program will erase his memory. Oh dang, that sucks. Oh well, moving on. The dagger says we need to go to Endor to the wreckage of the second Death Star. Okay, we are on Endor looking at the wreckage. Now what? Oh wait, the way the dagger is carved matches the exact outline of the wreckage right there. The Wayfinder must be there. Okay, so Rey has to go get it out of the throne room in the wreckage. Oh my gosh, it's Darkside Rey. Oh well, not important. Okay, now we have the Wayfinder. Oh my goodness, it's Kylo. Time to fight. Oh no, he got the Wayfinder and destroyed it. Kylo and Rey fight, and Rey draws the lucky straw as Leia distracts Kylo so that Rey can stab him. Oh dang, he's gonna die. Oh wait, no he's not. Rey can just heal him. I could keep going like this, but I think you get the gist of how ridiculous this whole setup is and how ridiculous the pace of this movie is. Literally everything is a plot device that they stumble upon to lead them to the next part of the story. Nothing happens naturally, and that, as I said earlier, contributes to the terrible pacing and flow that this movie has. Now, my next negative is my least favorite thing that happens in this movie. Palpatine returns. Congratulations, Disney. You have officially ruined everything that the original trilogy did. I understand that this isn't the real Emperor. It's his spirit possessing a clone or whatever it is that they explained it. You see, the reason I'm not sure about what he is in this movie is because once again, it deems it not important enough to explain how he returned. But honestly, it just doesn't matter. The fact that any form of the Emperor can return is absurd and ruins everything that Darth Vader died for. If the Emperor survived, then Vader's redemption is undercut, and it means that he essentially failed. It also makes Luke once again look like an idiot, as he was somehow unaware that the Emperor was alive and building a massive army this entire time. There is no excusing this. This was a terrible decision and was the final domino to knock over to render everything set up and done in the originals null and void. So once again, way to go Disney, I hope you're happy. Moving on to my next negative, and that is going to be the Kylo and Rey relationship. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Force FaceTime crap from The Last Jedi, and honestly thought it was really foolish. This movie, however, doubles down on it in the worst way possible. Not only can they see each other across the galaxy, they can freaking pass items to each other through this connection. I'm sorry, but what sense does this make? In the words of Han Solo, that's not how the Force works. But apparently Disney doesn't understand the Force, so they keep inventing crap in order to push the plot along. To go along with this, we have the whole Force healing thing. Talk about a big plot hole. Now, I know that they did it in The Mandalorian too, and I'm not going to excuse that, but it at least makes a little bit more sense than it does here. Grogu at least had been trained for the first 20 to 25 years of his life, so he would have a big understanding of the Force. Rey, once again, maybe has a few months of training at most, and is able to do pretty much anything she needs to do for the story. Once again, it opens major plot holes, because why didn't Anakin use it on his mom or Padme? Or why didn't Obi-Wan use it to save Qui-Gon? See how little sense this all makes? Now, I could buy it if Luke could do it, because you could explain it as an ancient Jedi power that only masters would know how to do. But it isn't. Any regular Joe can do it apparently. This brings me to my next negative, and that is going to be Force Ghosts. What happened to Force Ghosts being reserved for Masters, and it being a difficult thing to do? Apparently anyone with the Force can be a Force Ghost now. Kylo? Sure, let him be a Force Ghost. I mean, no offense, but the idea that Leia could become a Force Ghost is more ridiculous. She ended her training before she was anywhere near having the understanding to know how or be able to do this, in my opinion. But I guess if there's one thing the sequels teach us, is that training and practice don't mean anything and are not required in any way. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this out with my last negative, and that is Rey. I've said a lot about my dislike of her character, and it once again continues in this movie. There's no growth whatsoever, just same old Rey doing crap she shouldn't be able to do. Also, not a fan of her being Palpatine's granddaughter. Not a fan of her and Kylo kissing. That was the most ridiculous bit of fan service for one of the weirder sides of the fanbase. My main thing to say about Rey is the ending when she called herself Rey Skywalker. I don't know who thought that this was a good idea to put in the movie or that it would be well received by fans, but it must be the same guy who thought the Holdo maneuver was clever. Like, picture this. Palpatine is synonymous with evil pretty much throughout the entire galaxy. How much more powerful would it have been if she kept the name Palpatine and instead made it synonymous with her and good? It would have been the ultimate spit in the face to Palpatine. It also would have preached a good message that it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters what you do. Anyway, there are a lot more dumb stuff that happens in this movie, but you get the gist, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to my final thoughts. Okay, here we are at my final thoughts about this movie. My honest opinion of this movie is that it's just not very good, unfortunately. It has a decent amount of good that it does, or at least tries to do, but it just can't make up for the negatives. It is a nonsensical, jumbled up mess that attempts to do way too much for the allotted time that it has. Bringing back Palpatine was a catastrophic failure and wrong decision that did not go over well at all with the fans. So, time to give it a rating. In my honest opinion, I would give this movie a 5 out of 10 at best. There's just too much going on in this movie that makes no sense or has no payoff for me to like. Couple that with the return of Palpatine and the undercutting of Vader's redemption, and this movie probably deserves less than a 5. However, I won't put it any lower because I do appreciate it for trying to correct some stuff from The Last Jedi. So yeah, that is going to be all for this review. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the video. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm dead wrong about this one? Either way, I would love to hear it. I've got some interesting videos planned for the future, so make sure to stay tuned. Anyway, that is going to be it for me today. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.